Good morning.
Good morning.
Quiet group this morning. So the reading for this morning is a poem, not by Mary Oliver this time, but by Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never, in extremity, it asked a crumb of me. For many decades, one of the traditions practiced at New Garden Friends meeting has been the lighting of the candles on an Advent wreath during the month before Christmas. I always laugh to myself to think I had to go to a Quaker meeting to learn about an ancient Christian ritual, really. But then this past week I realized, wait a minute, I'm going to be here with you guys for 3 of the 4 weekends in Advent. So I thought, despite the absence of an Advent wreath, that I'd really like to, I really would like for us to explore the attributes of the candles that are lit each Sunday in Advent and a lot of other places in the world. Like most other Christian traditions, the Advent wreath was adopted from prior cultures. These ancient peoples lit candles that were placed in an evergreen wreath that was a symbol of the circle of life. And their hope was that the circle of life would once again return toward longer days and the warmth of spring that longer days brought from the sun. Prayers would also be recited to the God of light as each candle was lit. Many of the world's religions and cultures have some sort of winter celebration of light. Starting, usually the earliest is the week of Diwali, which is a Hindu tradition. A few others you're probably familiar with are Hanukkah, winter solstice, Kwanzaa, Chinese New Year, and Imbolc. So it's no surprise that Christians of the Middle Ages borrowed this tradition to symbolize the arrival of the light of another son, Jesus. What was surprising to me as I was researching this was that the Advent wreath although it had been a Christian tradition for decades, the actual attributes of each candle each week are not consistent across denominations. There's no single Advent candle committee that decides what do we speak on each week. So I got to choose the topics. Today we'll look at hope. And on December the 11th, we'll look at joy. And on the 18th, the theme will be peace. And the speaker for next week, which is December 4th, they can decide whether or not they want to talk about faith out of my realm of decision making. The 5th candle that is usually in the center of the wreath, it represents the love and the light of the Christ child. And that's usually lit on Christmas Eve, or Christmas Day is a Sunday this year. So this morning's message is centered around the first candle, the candle of hope. Hope to me is what encircles this entirety of the winter season and its associated celebrations of light. In ancient times and modern days alike, those of us in the northern hemisphere are likely to hope for the warmth of the sun to return as we're trudging through snowy grounds and bracing against icy winds. Those who follow the teachings of Jesus anticipate the arrival of the Christ light at Christmas and in our lives, with hope for a better tomorrow for ourselves and for the world. Christian author, chaplain, and pastoral counselor Dr. Andrew Lester describes hope as the ability to tell a new story. He believed that hope is a basic human need. And the story that Jesus tells shows us that a new future is available to us and that numerous possibilities exist within every present circumstance. The challenge for us lies in our ability to see new possibilities and to trust that at least one of them can truly happen. Probably the most difficult facet of hope, I think, is trust. Trust and hope are so closely woven together in the Hebrew Scriptures that the word for hope is often the word used for trust. So they're interchangeable. Trust is the confidence that underpins our hope. Confidence that what we hope for will actually happen, or that it can even actually happen. Confidence that we hope for, we believe that our hopes can come to pass. And if we trust a person, we have confidence in their words and in their choices. Trust allows us to work together. It helps us live together. We need to trust to feel safe in our families and in our communities. How can we hope for something, really and truly hope for it, if we don't trust it? A second facet of hope is faith. If trust is the confidence in our dreams and hopes, then faith is the conviction. There's an expectation with faith, a belief that's connected to our having faith. We expect what we're hoping for. I remember filling out a Christmas list for Santa. I expected what I hoped for. Just as trust and hope are interchangeable words in the Hebrew Scriptures, faith and belief are interchangeable in the Christian Scriptures, which is fascinating. We read in the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, "Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and conviction of what we do not see." Faith is kind of the glue that holds together hope and trust. But here's the challenge that Jesus presented during his ministry to the many people he encountered. We often read of him telling people to take an action, something small or something really big, to get what they hope for. He says, "Go and sin no more." And I always think to that poor woman, good luck with that. Tell no one about this. Go home and tell everybody about this. Go and sell your possessions. He didn't. Pick up your mat and walk. Don't be afraid. Just believe. That's just a few of the instructions that he gives people. He also asks a lot of questions of people who had hope. Who do you say that I am? Do you want to be healed? what then do you say? And lastly, what do you want me to do for you? Jesus shows us that hope without reflection and action is just wishful thinking. So telling a new story, one that's filled with hope and bolstered by faith and trust, requires that we participate in the new story. It's not like Emily Dickinson's poem where hope doesn't ask anything of us. It does. It requires that we do something. As we take our first step toward the light of Christmas, I want to invite you to explore these questions. What's your future story? What are your small and big hopes for the tomorrows that lie ahead of you? What state of being would this new story bring to you? Are you hoping that you'll be at peace, in freedom? Are you hoping for self-empowerment or for ease or joy? How does that state of being inform who you hope to become? Who do you want to become in 2023? To me, that's like, who do you want to be in 2023? It's kind of a slogan somebody should adopt. But think about it. Look ahead at your future story. Look at that state of being that you hope to embody. What small steps might you begin to take today that are going to lead you to that future self, that future story? It won't happen with wishful thinking. Are there questions your future self might answer from you that will guide you in the present moment? Or are there instructions or questions that your future self would ask you right now to do so that you can move toward that future self? What resources will you need to move toward that which you hope for? Do you have them? Don't you? Do you need to ask for them? How can the Christ light assist you in fulfilling your hope? What can Jesus do for you? Action is what transforms hope into realization. And we're invited by Jesus to be active participants in our own transformation. So as you explore the possibilities of a new future, may the light of hope guide you toward your new story. And so it is. Amen.